What's going on, everyone? It's time for adventurizing again. This time I'm actually not very far from where I live. I'm actually in the small town of As, which probably none of you actually know of. I feel like many Belgians actually don't even know of this city or town. It has an English translation being Ash. It's quite a nice little town. It has a bit of history as well. Let's have a look. One of the first things we're actually going to look at is the actual station. This was actually quite an important station back in the beginning of the 20th century, as a lot of mining supplies and resources actually passed through the station. But unfortunately, it is no longer used, but it still has some things to show. Here you can see the actual station. And unfortunately, information desk here is also no longer open. But this is actually due to COVID, I'm pretty sure. But as you can see, even though the station is actually no longer used, there are still some quite nice trains here. Well, you can kind of look inside, but normally these things here were actually open. I guess they closed it because, you know, people cannot really go inside anyway. And another nice thing, besides the actual trains being here, is that the official train station itself, where people would have waited back in the day, is now actually converted into a restaurant, which you can see over there. It's actually quite nice. It's quite expensive though, but if you're in the area, you might as well give it a shot. But there are different restaurants, which I actually recommend more. Here you can have a better look of the actual dining room. This town is actually also known for having a lot of bicycle routes and just forest in general. So, as you can see, we are actually here. The remainder of us is actually around here. But then we have a lot of green over here with a lot of great travel routes as well. But they're more for walking or cycling. And these trains should actually be real trains which were used back in the day. But as you can see, not all of them are as well kept as the other ones. Because if you look over there, these have been vandalized a little bit. I guess people just wanted to give them an extra layer of protection, you know, by adding a bit of paint/graffiti. I'm actually quite sad that these are actually locked. It would be great to actually have a look inside, but if they would have been unlocked, then I'm sure that they would have been vandalized from the inside as well. So maybe it's better that they are the way they are. But speaking of the town As or Ash itself, the town itself actually did not become a mining village, even though it was supposed to become one, because one of the main geologists, called André Dumont, which is probably a name you will see more often if you visit this area, he actually was in the process of buying land here to start mining the gravel, and everything was actually going to plan until the people from Ash itself actually wanted a little bit of the profit that Andrew was going to make, which is something that he did not want to share. So instead, he actually applied to buy some land in Genk, which they agreed to, and which is also why Genk back then became one of those mining facilities. And over there you can actually see the tower, which we're going to visit as well. Wow, this actually looks really cool. Still has some equipment as well. Wouldn't be surprised if some of these are actually from back then. Oh, and I guess this one was from the Hasselt region, and it was supposed to give electricity and some kind of, yeah, and I don't really know what the signing richting actually means, but yeah. So yeah, if you're a fan of trains, and a little bit of history and some good food, this station has it all. Oh, and graffiti. We cannot forget the graffiti. And this station is actually the province's oldest station that is still visitable, even though it hasn't been active for over 40 years. Because they actually shut it down in 1980 because it just didn't make enough money anymore. But before that, it was actually one of the most famous lines in the whole province. But this was due to the neighboring mines actually closing in 1980. And right behind me you can actually see a replica of the drill tower, which actually pulled the first coal outside of the ground here in As. And even though this one is actually 3 times as big as the original one, it still gives you a nice idea of what it actually looked like back in the day. Let's go have a look. We made it, and the wind is actually picking up. That's actually where we were earlier. Over there is actually Genk, and most of the trains actually went from Hasselt, which is even past Genk, all the way to Maasdijk, which is to the border of the Netherlands. Hello. Right, but there should be a monument somewhere here, but I don't really see it. Maybe there. So we are about 200 meters actually from the station actually at the moment, and behind me you can actually see a monument which is called the Lancaster 3, and it actually has quite a meaning behind it. Let me explain it to you. During the actual Second World War, was a pilot with 6 passengers flying from England to Germany to actually head out and bomb Germany. But on the way there, they were actually hit by the Germans and were forced to make an emergency landing. Well, emergency landing, let's just say that they were crashing. And the pilot quickly commanded the other people to either jump or die, to which they quickly reacted and jumped out of the plane, with parachutes of course. But because the plane was actually heading right towards the center of us, the pilot had to make quick decisions and to actually go the other way to land in the forest somewhere here, taking his life in the process. And that monument actually is made from pieces from the actual plane itself. So the monument itself is actually a very nice way to remember the hero that he was and how he actually saved a lot of lives with his quick thinking and courage. And he actually even has his own grave here in Us, which I'm hoping to visit later today. And just about 500 meters from the actual station, we have one of the only geological walls here in Belgium, actually. Unfortunately, I don't really know much about geology, but let's go up there. And also, behind me, you can see a sport hall. But this actually used to be a gravel quarry, so they repurposed it quite nicely. And it even has a skate park. I'm pretty much standing on top of the bridge. You can see, look, there I am. Hello. Maybe they have some more info over there. This is also a common starting point for quite a few walking routes. Okay, this was definitely not the most exciting stop, but something nice to see. And I kind of wish I knew more about geology, just so I could elaborate a little bit more on that. But there's not really that much to find about it online, so unlucky today. But here you can actually have a great look of how high it actually used to come beforehand. Because you see how much lower it is over there. So all of this is actually the result of a gravel quarry. The big boss, André Dumont. And look, it also says Professor of University of Leuven, first coal of the Kempen, I guess mostly Limburg, at 541 meters deep in 1901, 2nd of August. And this monument here was placed to celebrate the event happening 100 years ago. Just over 20 years ago actually. But just like with most finds, he actually didn't even find it himself. It was actually one of the people from his squad, so he just gets the credit. But just as a side note, even though the monument was quite nice, I wouldn't really recommend you to go out of your way to visit this, because it's over 2 kilometers from the actual station itself. But if you pass by here, then you might as well give it a look. And that's our new destination there. I'm already getting tired thinking about the fact that I have to get up there. The things I do for you people, you know. But no, all jokes aside, I prefer actually going up hills and mountains than just walking on flat ground, so I don't mind doing this. This is actually located about 2 kilometers from the center. The monument you saw from André itself is actually a little bit to the north of us, and this is actually a little bit to the northwest of us, just on the outside. But actually I do feel like I picked out a great day to do this. You see, one of the first things we see here are a bunch of sheep. It's all very nice. Ga je naar boven lopen? Zo rondlopen? Die andere hoger. Ah, echt? Is die hoger? Is die andere hoger of is deze hoger? De andere is hoger. Nog hoger? Oké. Goed om te weten. The people running actually just told me that there's another one which is even higher. Let's do this one first, because I think the other one is actually not part of us anymore. So we'll see. We don't even see the car anymore. The car is somewhere over there. And that's where we just had a quick break. Well, not really a break actually. We just went right through it. Huh. And you see, that's actually the one the runners were actually talking about, I guess. And by the looks of it, I'm about halfway through the top right now. Maybe a bit more, maybe a bit more. That's the next stretch. And pro tip from someone not so pro, definitely take off your sweater. Kind of wish I did that beforehand. At least now I'm all warmed up. This one wasn't even that bad. You see, that one is a piece of cake, so. Oh, there's so much wind right now, oh my god. I don't know if you can properly hear me because of the wind, but over there is us, and over there is Genk. But it's definitely something I recommend. And the kids are loving the wind here. But to be honest, after pushing to the top, having that breeze is really nice. I'm just hoping I'm still understandable. If you're in the Genk area, this is definitely something I recommend. This is something all ages can do, and it's just beautiful. Just have a look around. And that one can be for a different video. And if you look in the distance over there, there's like another similar hill to this one. And literally all of this hill is actually from the mines. So it's quite hard to show the scale on video, but believe me when I say it's big. Okay, we can even have a swim over there. Alright, time to get down again. Alright, and while I actually head down, I want to quickly explain why I actually chose to show you guys us, or Ash. And I'm gonna do this while I try to not break my ankles, because I'm sure that 99.9% of you guys have actually never heard of this town. Which I don't blame you for it, but because I want my channel to be focused around travel, and I'm not always able to actually travel around the world all the time because of work and stuff, I wanted to also show a different perspective of my home country. Because if most of you people actually think about Belgium, you think about Antwerp, Brussels, maybe Bruges or Ghent, but none of you will actually think of us. Even though I was able to have quite a nice time here without a problem. And this does not mean that everyone should come and visit us. No, for sure not. But it's just to try and show a different approach of traveling and kind of try and go and travel in my own country first. Because there are a ton of towns and cities that I've never been to, that you probably would have never heard of, and can have absolute gems when it comes to travel content. But since I will be in Belgium for at least a couple of months, this can be a nice alternative and can be very fun along the way. And with that being said, I'm already over halfway down. You can even see my car over there maybe. I don't know if you can see it. But with that being said, if you're more into the international travel, definitely go and check out this video. This is actually where I explore Lithuania and have some crazy adventures along the way, which I'm sure you will love. And besides that, thank you very much for watching. You guys are awesome, and I will see you in the next one.